All right, man. Sorry, this is gonna make some of you mad, but it is what it is, and this is hip hop. All right, so let's talk about it, man. I was watching Everyday Struggle. I never really watch Everyday Struggle because honestly, I don't really give a shit what academics and Wayno have to say in general. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have things occasionally where they say some interesting stuff. I happened to come across one of their videos, and the videos were talking about defining whack music. And I went, I'm gonna check this out because this is one thing this generation never talks about. What is whack? We used to talk about that all the time. We used to try to figure out what was whack because we had standards. Y'all don't got no standards, so you don't know what's whack, right? You hate on certain things, you don't hate on certain things, and when someone criticizes something, you assume that they're a hater and don't think, oh, well, maybe this person actually has some standards, and that's why they're addressing this music in this way. Nah, you just go, oh, if you don't like the guy's hustle, so therefore you're a hater. And that's partly why this generation, when it comes to music, is in the gutter. Now, the reason I'm making this video is I wanted to enlighten some of y'all on this phenomenon where two rappers on opposite sides of the spectrum, one that's sort of mainstream and one that's sort of underground, can be the exact same artist essentially, but the format is different. And they're both whack, actually. They're both pop in a way that you might not necessarily connect the dots. So, on the channel, the Everyday Struggle channel, Wayno was saying that Benny the Butcher and Lil Baby are essentially the same artist. And he's absolutely right. I've said this before. I've told y'all that Griselda are the Lil Waynes of underground rap. And people went, oh, what are you talking about, dude? You're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like, because y'all don't get it, right? And then some commenter, he said something like, oh, basically in typical Dick Rider fashion, oh, well, Griselda's out here doing it. They're hanging well with QC, with Coach K, and all of them. And I'm like, yeah, he's hanging out with kiddie rappers, kiddie rap executives who essentially they make the same music. And he's like, what? Huh? Y'all don't get it. These niggas is the same cat. Okay, and let me explain what I mean by that, just like what Wayno was talking about. And I'm gonna link what Wayno said in the comments below because y'all need to check this out. You have to know how this rap shit works. Essentially, Benny the Butcher and Lil Baby rap about the same shit. They both rap about fashion. They both, Balenciagas and all that shit. And they rap about the same sort of like we out here selling drugs, that kind of thing. The content is damn near the same. And that's my problem with a lot of this stuff. The content is very much the same. Most people have yet to sort of break out of being, in the same sort of content bubble. They would rather market the same stuff because they know that ultimately this genre has been overtaken by casuals, and casuals like to hear the same thing over and over again. So, you can look at the video. I'm not the only one that says it. If you listen to hip hop long enough, you start to see certain patterns. Benny the Butcher and Lil Baby rhyme about the same shit, damn near. Okay, so now that we've established that they pretty much rap about the same sort of stuff, I would argue that they're the same sort of artists. It's just that they appeal to different types of casuals. They're both casuals. Lil Baby is on the pop end. His beats are not that mind-blowing. They're not really cutting edge. They're very much in the pocket of what you would expect from your typical mumble rapper. Basically someone who's doing that pop sound, that Metro Boomin-ish sort of sound, but more watered down. You've heard it with Future, you've heard it with Young Thug. It's a watered down type of sound. Lil Baby is not on the cutting edge of mumble rap either. That would be Playboi Carti. Playboi Carti is on the cutting edge of mumble rap, so I listen to Playboi Carti. I just listen to cutting edge niggas, period. I don't like dudes that are not cutting edge. Because to me, I'm like, why am I listening to you if you're not doing something unique? If you're just a Xerox of another nigga, then that's boring to me. But a lot of people like Xeroxes. Griselda to me are a Xerox of Rock Marciano. It's been done before. And Rock Marciano is kind of boring to me. And Rock Marciano is some kind of weird Xerox of like, I would argue, sort of those Jeff Jooks rappers that were doing the drumless shit, like company flowing them a little bit with a little bit of like, I guess you could say Raekwon and all that. But the point is that they're not on the cutting edge either. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. And I look at them at the same. They're both in the same vein of casual. Lil Baby's production, nothing to write home about. For the most part. I like the Yes Indeed beat though, which Weezy did. And I thought that was fire. I would say, I guess that's better than any Griselda record that I've ever heard. Now that I think about it. So, but Griselda, their whole style is this retro boom bap rock marciano type shit, which has been done before and has been done way better by other people. So they're not on the cutting edge either. And that's why I look at them as the same damn Wack artist. Because at the end of the day, neither of these niggas is cutting edge. They both rap about the same shit. They might as well be the same rapper. But the difference is that people are in love with certain types and formats of rap. Some people, like, if they don't hear that dusty, quote unquote, boom bap percussion on some level, they automatically dismiss it as whatever is not in that vein as whack. That's how a casual thinks. Just as someone who listens to Lil Baby, Thug, Future, whatever, the moment they hear something that's a little bit boom bap, that's more lyrical, quote unquote, they go, oh, that's whack, I don't hear that, that's boring. That's a casual. Both of these people are casuals. That's how casuals think. At the end of the day, hip hop is so varied. The production styles are so varied. So when you only listen to one coast type of music, or you only listen to a certain type of bounce, you are a casual. Plain and simple. I grew up on DJ Premier. I love Primo. I'm as East Coast as it gets with this hip hop shit. But I also love Timbaland. I grew up on Timbaland. I've been telling people that Timbaland was that guy. He was one of my favorite producers back then. He still is now. Like, I love that Southern Bounce shit. I think that Southern Bounce shit is hot as hell. I also grew up listening to West Coast shit. I was an MC Hammer fan. I liked MC Hammer when he was doing that album that people thought was corny, but in retrospect, I think people are giving more respect to. Funky Headhunter. The beats on there were crazy. So I like the West Coast bounce. And again, it's different. Like, the thing with hip hop is that everyone is allowed to express their hip hop in a different way. But the point is that all hip hop, the best shit, is usually cutting edge and it's hard. It has this hard, aggressive, and sort of beautiful, I would argue, like melodic, just an edge to it, like a spiritual edge almost. All coast. It doesn't matter where you're from. If you're really doing this shit at the highest level, you're going to make the best music, the best hip hop. It doesn't matter if you're from Memphis and doing that trap shit. It doesn't matter if you're from New York and you're doing that boom bap shit. They're all kind of the same in an interesting way. They're all beautiful, hard-hitting hip hop records. They're not compromising. They're not looking at being like, oh, would someone who listens to Celine Dion like this song? Nah, they're not thinking like that. Whereas I would argue that a lot of modern hip hop today, even the stuff that's being made from the underground, they're marketing it at casuals. And that's the point. The point isn't that if you are sort of patterning your rhyme schemes after Coogee rap, whatever, that makes you more real hip hop. No, you are pop. That rap scheme shit has been done. It already entered the pop space. And you know who brought it into the pop space was Eminem. Right? Because Eminem is a pop artist. He always has been a pop artist, right? R.A. the Rugged Man mentioned this and talked about this, so you can find out what R.A. said about it, and it's absolute facts. When people go, blah, 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 and that's real hip-hop, they don't understand that that's only a certain style, and really, that's a style that came about from like sort of like Kool Moe Dee towards Coogee rap, Rakim, Kane, and then Pun, you know what I'm saying, Jay to a certain extent. Like, it's a style of rap. It's not the whole shit. So when you say it there and like, if they're not then not for it's whack, you're not paying attention. And I know that you're a casual. You only listen to this much hip hop, whereas I listen to that much, a lot. Right? Not everyone has to be lyrical to be dope. You can be an incredible rapper and not be quote unquote lyrical. Right? You just have to make interesting music. Right? I mean, Bismarck made some incredible music. Houdini, they made some incredible music. They're not lyrical in the way that you would think. They had some rhymes though, and what's interesting is that Houdini gets sampled like crazy. right? This party don't start till after dark, or it ain't till 12 till the party really starts. Like that "Freaks Come Out at Night" has been sampled a gazillion times, right? Houdini never spit the, but they are as hip hop as they fucking come. And that's one thing you guys got to understand, that hip hop has many forms to it. The point is, in the form of which you are doing, are you the best at that form? Are you in the top 1%? Are you taking that form, whatever form that you decided to be in, and taking that to the next level? If you're not doing that, you are whack. You are probably whack, or you're at least decent. And that's where we ended the conversation. But if you really aren't doing anything new, then I have to be like, that's okay, but I'd rather listen to the person that's doing something new and unique in hip hop. That's how this genre works. So at the end of the day, Lil Baby is just as pop to me and just as formulaic as Griselda. And honestly, they probably have the same fans. I've always noticed this about hip hop, where the so-called "I only listen to lyrical dudes," when you actually talk to them on the low, they be listening to all that thug and mumble rap bullshit. Because it's the same. They just like generic music, and generic music comes in different forms. And people tend to like generic shit. If you like a certain generic type of music, you probably will appreciate generic music in another type of form. As long as it's co-signed, of course. Because now, like, I think Griselda on record saying that they fuck with Lil Baby and them guys. Of course they do. You're all generic, right? And now a Griselda fan could be like, oh, I listen to Lil Baby too, and feel as though like they don't, they're not trapped in the box. When at the end of the day, they're all mediocre. And that's it, man. You just got to be cutting edge. That's all I'm saying. Whatever form you decide to do with this rap shit, be really good at it. Because there's a lot of different styles. Dr. Luke in his time was dope in his style. It's not one way or the other, right? Now, I would argue that if you're like a Nas or a Jay who happens to make great music that you can really listen to and also is so profound and poetic, then yes, you're probably at the top, because it's very hard to make great music that rocks and at the same time is poetic and says some poetic shit, mind-blowing shit. I mean, that's extraordinarily hard. That's like the very top, the creme de la creme. And that's why people look at Nas and Jay as being them guys. But that doesn't mean that a person like NORE is whack or shouldn't be listened to. NORE's dope as hell. NORE came out doing that sort of hard-edged rap, and then he switched and became more comedic because that was more him. That's more his personality, right? In the conversation, they were talking about how UGK with Pimp C, for example, Pimp C was dope as hell. He's not lyrical, quote unquote, but Pimp C raps better than anyone in the game right now, like by far. Pimp C could probably got better rhymes than Kendrick and all these people that you talk about, and certainly got better vocal delivery. Pimp C was a dope rapper. It doesn't have to be bars. It is simply an expression of whatever style you decide to rock, are you great at that style? And I would argue that Lil Baby is not great at this style. There are better mumble rappers out here, like a Playboy Carti, and there are better lyrical rappers than a Griselda, period. Now, maybe there aren't any better lyrical rappers in the quote-unquote game right now, but Griselda are so below the bar, period, that they're just whack to me, in all facets. I've heard better. I've heard lots better. Griselda fans haven't, and that's why they're angry, right? Or they're casuals to begin with, and they only listen to stuff in a certain box. So if it's in that box and it's being marketed enough, they'll just love it. Bottom line, hip-hop is very faceted, okay? So understand this, and understand that at the end of the day, if I don't like it, it's probably because it's whack. All right, y'all. Take it easy.